channel. This is the self-proclaimed Blue Dragon. This week, I'm messing with my desk. I need to stop. This week, I just wanted to draw Joseph Joestar promoting drinking a cup of coffee. Okay. I'm gonna do a little bit more talking than that, but first off, this channel is for adults. I haven't said that in a while, but it should be obvious. This channel is for adults, not for kids. Normally, I'm doing stuff regarding my free, not safe for work webcomic, Dark Horse. Links are down in the description. I highly recommend reading it if you like magic girls and shit like that. Magic people. There's more than just magic girls in it. Okay, so a couple weeks ago, I was accepted into the Summer Artists Market in our local community here. True North Studios was hosting this event. It was an outdoor event. Everyone had to have masks on. And we kept I kept fairly distanced from people. But it was, because I haven't been going to indoor conventions, this was kind of an opportunity for me to meet some other artists in the community, and also a way for me to kind of, try to sell some of my stuff. And like portion of August, I was just kind of trying to create a bunch of art that I could sell, like traditional pieces in addition to like the prints and stuff that I have from 2019, because it's been a couple years, my art's gotten a little bit better since then, so I wanted to have some new stuff to sell. And part of that was, for a couple years now, I've had this idea that I wanted to draw like a couple fan art pieces, but it takes me forever to get around to drawing fan art. I really don't do a lot of fan art. I did when I was younger, when I was trying to learn how to draw anime and manga. I still arguably am. I'm not very good. I have my own style, but I don't really do that so much anymore. So I have to really, really, really like something if I want to fucking draw it. And I really, really, really like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. But yeah, this idea I've had in my head for a while because I've rewatched the show several times, and I think that Joseph is definitely my favorite, especially him in Battle Tendencies. Although, I know a lot of people like to shit on Phantom Blood. I like it. It's like, it feels like a love letter to Dracula, to Bram Stoker's Dracula, with the main character being Jonathan, and Jonathan Harker was in Bram Stoker's Dracula. Of course, you've got like the idea, I grew up with the Castlevania games. I only ever had one, and I could never get past the fucking clock tower with those goddamn flying heads. I forget which number it is. Oh my god. But I kind of grew up with that. So, to me, and with Street Fighter too, because apparently Street Fighter was heavily influenced, like the characters were heavily influenced by JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. So for me, because we're just kind of in the States in the past few years, we're just now discovering JoJo's, and it's been around for like ever. It's kind of exciting for me because there's a lot of things that JoJo's does that I was interested in anyway. Like, it's funny to me, and I'm going to talk about the music in just a minute, and how music is such an integral part of the JoJo universe. But I don't know what it is about Joseph Joestar. He was my favorite. I think it was because he was very, obviously the colors, I love the flamboyancy and the fantastic detail. While I don't necessarily like fast fashion or fashion in general, at the same time, there's like this duality where I absolutely love fashion as an art form, like with David Bowie or Lady Gaga, or there's a myriad of other people who like really get into like the fashion scene, and I like to see that. So it's refreshing for me to see like this anime, like fashion is very, very obviously important within the character designs. And of course, when I was younger, my sister was really big into like Versace and a bunch of other big name labels. And even now, I'm not necessarily infatuated with name brands. I prefer buying secondhand. That's my thing. But like at the same time, I can still appreciate like the art and the skill that it takes to design fashion and clothing. Oh god, here I am. What the fuck am I? I'm supposed to be talking about JoJo's, kind of. But these are just this is just like a stupid, just a thought dump video. I'm going to say nothing of great political or social import here. I'm just kind of talking about some of the things that I didn't, on the outside before I started watching JoJo's, my fiance's brother finally convinced me that I needed to see it because he's really big into anime too. And, or was it him, or was it, I think, I think he convinced my fiance, who convinced me, I don't know, anyway, there was some kind of play. I had seen JoJo around for a while, and it was finally on Netflix, and I was like, okay, I need to watch this because it's anime. What the hell, why not? I like anime. I haven't really been watching anything that's caught my interest much lately at the time when I started watching the show. And it was just this is where I'm going to be talking about the music. The first thing that struck me was that I realized, holy fucking shit, all of these characters are named after musicians that I love. Like, my mom was big into, she liked prog rock, she liked regular rock, 60s rock. Obviously, this is where I got my own interest in rock from the 60s and 70s, was through my mom. But, like, I don't know, it hasn't been confirmed, but I almost want to, at least in my mind, in my head canon, I want to say that JoJo, the whole idea of, like, the name, to me feels like it came from the Beatles' Get Back. Pure conjecture, haven't seen Araki, that's the author's last name, confirm that or anything. I haven't really looked to see. I have several reasons, besides being an obsessive-compulsive Beatle fan, although I've fallen off the information wagon of because I have a life. But first and foremost, Jonathan's father's name is George. Okay, that's just a common British name. His mother's name is Mary. That's just a common British woman's name. True. But his wife is named after Eleanor Rigby. Irina is named after that. Maybe not the original, reason why Araki came up with it, but you can't tell me that there isn't at least a connection there. We'll leave it at that. To me, that would make the most sense, but at any rate, when the ending song, when they started playing Roundabout, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Because I did not expect getting into this anime. I did not expect 1960s prog rock or just regular rock in general, like with Ario Roberty Speedwagon. When I started hearing these names, like Dio, you might not realize, you could get away with naming a character Dio, and that's like God. But when it's all combined with all the other characters' names, it becomes very evident what's going on. And as someone who is a huge fan of many different types of music, different genres, different eras, I appreciate this show on a whole other level in addition to that. In addition to just liking anime in general. And to me, it's almost like, when you watch anything by Watanabe, that's the guy who was in charge of Cowboy Bebop, in charge of Carol and Tuesday, Samurai Champloo, you watch these anime, and it's one of those things where it's the soundtrack, it's very carefully constructed and written because the music is almost as much a part of the animes as the story and the characters. The music itself is almost a character within the shows. With Cowboy Bebop, you've got jazz and blues, and it's really, I love the whole soundtrack. In fact, I was kind of starting to get interested in jazz anyway because Herbie Hancock was really big in the 60s and Quincy Jones, and I grew up, on TV, not grew up, but by the time I was in high school, we finally had cable, so I was watching a lot of TV Land, so I was seeing Sanford and Son, and hearing, a lot of these kind of jazzy, funky musicians, so I already kind of had a taste for jazz, but it really wasn't until I started listening to a lot of anime soundtracks that I actually started getting even more interested in jazz. Now, I can't name a lot of musicians that are in jazz, I know a handful, but I'm learning a little bit more, but at any rate, it's interesting that, music, for me, because I am such a big fan of music, when I see another creator or artist who is also just as obviously heavily influenced by things outside of the art world, the visual arts world, outside of classical training and, shit like that, it's really cool to me to see people pulling from these different influences and putting it into their creations. So Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo, with like the awesome hip-hop and lo-fi, a lot of different musicians coming together. And in Carol and Tuesday, the songs, actually a lot of them were, these songs are written by actual songwriters, and so you can hear the quality. Not that, other people don't, it's not like old anime didn't have actual songwriters, it's not what I'm saying, but I hope I'm kind of conveying what I'm trying to say. Like, I used to love anime openings anyway, just because, it was fun, it was different, and I kind of liked the sounds of, like, the 90s and 80s anime openings, but it's kind of, I feel like it's a little bit different because this is stuff that you would maybe hear on the radio versus just, something that's specifically for this TV show as an opening. Aside from, like, Friends, I don't know how many songs you might hear in an opening song that, unless it was, like, a song already. I think, Sopranos took a song that was already written, I think, and used it as an opening. A lot of TV shows will do that now, but, like, a lot of times I feel like the songs were written specifically for the TV show, which was definitely the case for, like, anime. But kind of getting back to, like, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the fucking songs, the opening songs are so good, and they are written specifically for this, property, for this show, but, like, just the jazzy flares, and, like, it just sounds like something that I would listen to on the radio, except, of course, you don't really get to hear a lot of international songs on the radio here in the States. And I don't listen to the radio anymore anyway, except for our local jazz station, or KDHX, I love KDHX.org, it's free, community-owned radio. Check them out. You can stream their channels. If you have eclectic tastes in music, and you want to be introduced to new musicians, because I hear it all the time, especially baby boomers will say, there's nothing good on the radio, everything is shit now, and it's like, no, you just don't fucking know where to look. It's not that bad music is only being produced, it's that you don't know where to find it. So KDHX, one of my favorite bands, was introduced to me through KDHX. It's the Church of the Cosmic Skull. They're really fucking bitching. They're a British rock group, and you just have to hear them to know what it's right up my alley. It sounds late 60s, early 70s. They're fucking awesome.
From within the mountain heart, you never see the day again. On a winter's night, I heard a sound so cruel. Without a moon, I saw that it was you.
I kind of went off on a tangent there because this is not scripted. I'm just gushing, just talking. But it's like, on so many levels, there's so many things, so much thought put into this anime. And I'm really excited because at some point I'm going to actually get a hold of the manga. I really want to read this comic because if you've been around the channel, you'll notice that most of the male characters that I draw, and female too, I really need to work on this, but most of my male characters are fairly trim. They're not very large-bodied, muscular, or even larger characters. And what I'd like to do is kind of, study Araki's art by reading the comic and, having something. I like to have something tangible, something that I can hold on to, something physical. So I would like to start studying that. Because I found this to be inspiring enough, I would like to try to work on making characters that are a little bulkier and a little larger. So that was kind of another thought behind doing this image. It was one of the things that was kind of putting me off from doing this fan art piece, but if you've learned anything from some of the things I've said, if you've seen some of my other videos, I do try to, I think it's important to challenge yourself to do things that are outside of your comfort zone. And this was definitely outside of my comfort zone, but I had a lot of fun. There was quite a bit of frustration, especially with his hat. I finally figured out what was wrong. It needed to be lower on his head, which I fixed a little bit later, and you'll see it at the end of the video. I have a finished copy of it. But yeah, this was kind of a challenge for me, and I like that this show, with Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, they're big characters, and even though I watched a little bit of that when I was younger, especially Dragon Ball, I liked Dragon Ball better than Dragon Ball Z. Don't stone me. Everybody don't stone me. But I was never influenced or inspired to draw that body type from watching that. Whereas with this show, maybe it is just the combination of, I love bright colors, I love busy designs, I love that which is very flamboyant and, very attractive to the eye. I like colors. So maybe it's this blending of fashion with this kind of story that's maybe making me interested in it. I don't know. I'm not really entirely sure. But for some reason, I got a wild hair up my ass, and now I want to try to draw some different characters, which I need to do anyway, because I clearly need to have more variety in body types in my comics. It's not that I have anything against different body types, it's just that I'm a shit artist. And the only way I'm gonna get out of this is by forcing myself to draw different types of characters. And it's interesting though, because I have drawn plenty within my sketchbooks, which I'm gonna have a sketchbook tour eventually. I've almost filled my sketchbook from 2015. It's taken me that fucking long. But it's not even that I don't draw larger characters. My characters, I've drawn myself. I'm not a skinny person. And I've drawn plenty of self-portraits of myself nude, just little shitty sketches, So it's not like I have anything against drawing that. I really don't care. It's just something I don't really think to do, if that makes sense. I don't know. Kind of weird. Anyway, this video is getting on to be a little bit longer than I thought it was, and I'm really not saying anything. This is just me just having a lot of fun babbling about a show I really like. I don't know, I like the characters in JoJo. I have seen it, I'm in the process of watching it for the 4th time, which sounds insane. It's not like I have a lot of time to watch TV, but when I've been trying to force myself to take breaks because it's not good for my mental health to not take some kind of break. So what I've been doing is at night, I'll watch an anime or something. I just love how any and every fucking chance this show gets, it is just pure exposition. It's from all the characters. I mean, you can walk out of the room and just hear words. You don't even have to watch the fucking show. You can walk out of the room and you'll know what's going on in JoJo's, because every character will walk you through a fucking 1920s radio show telling you what the hell's happening. But beyond that, okay, so there's the characters narrating, there's the narrator who, this show fucking trolls you so bad. I love that it's fucking trolling you. It's so funny. But then the openings, the songs, and the visuals of the opening credits, everything is walking you step by step. You can watch the JoJo opening and have an idea of exactly what is going to happen in each season. And of course it becomes clearer once you've seen the season, but it's just they take every fucking opportunity they can to tell you this, and this is going to happen. happens in the show. And I don't know what it is. It's probably the contrarian in me. I am such a contrary asshole. I try to get that under control, but as much as I get annoyed with exposition, I just love that because it feels like they're shitting on everyone who's ever said there's too much exposition. And I'm one of the people getting shat on because I don't like too much exposition either. But somehow they've taken that and turned it into an art form. And it's so apparent they know what they're doing. It's just hilarious to me. It's just, you can do it and do it well, then I will give you that fucking credit. And they don't need my credit, they don't need shit from me, but I just fucking love it. Oh my god. Real quick, I was gonna wrap up. Holy shit, I need to not wrap up though. The thing about Joseph Joestar in this picture is, if you watch the show, he fucking loves coffee. It's just hilarious, like, and it's in 3 different seasons that this coffee comes up, right? Like when in Stardust Crusader, he's bitching about the Japanese coffee that turns out to be American coffee, which none of it is anyone. I mean, it's all like grown elsewhere, but it's just that it's kind of like this theme, right? But what made me laugh was that in the 1940s, I think, there was like this poster, this, I don't know what it was, if it was an advertisement or what, but it was Have a Cup of Joe. I don't know why I know this either, because it's not like I'm big into like the 1940s, but I've seen this image around. It's kind of like Kilroy was here, you know, that kind of thing, or whatever the fuck that thing is. But yeah, but yeah. So I suddenly like clicked, I was like, man, this reminds me of this sign. So I wanted to create this meme of Have a Cup of JoJo because his name is Joseph and he likes coffee, and Joe, I don't even know why we call coffee Joe, but we do. This was like a several tiered joke. Even if nobody else thinks this is funny, I wanted to fucking do this thing where he's kind of promoting it like that 1940s Have a Cup of Joe poster. So that's what's going on here. Also, yeah, after all that babbling, I actually am selling, the piece that I made for the art market that I attended a couple weeks ago. And I'm also going to have this is in my Redbubble shop. It is going to be slapped on a couple things. So if you're interested, if you want this picture, I am selling it. If only to like, I want to get a set of coasters. What I'm doing is I want this to be coasters, and we don't have any coasters in our house. I don't know what the fuck happened to them. So I'm gonna order a set for myself, so I figured I'll just leave it in the shop until somebody tells me to take it down. I mean, I guess, I don't know, I see people doing fan art all the time, but I don't know what the rules are. But yeah, if you're interested in this, I'm gonna have a link to my Redbubble shop down in the description. Other ways to support the channel is to like, subscribe, do the bell thing, that sort of stuff. Patreon, Subscribestar, Ko-fi, all that shit. That's all down in the description. I will gladly take any donations anyone feels free to part with. But it all goes back into supporting arts and shit like that. That's usually where I put it. This is gonna be a really boring video for people who don't give a shit about JoJo's, but oh well, I wanted to do it. So like I said, this was purely entertaining myself, and I'm sorry if it didn't entertain you. Thanks, have a great day, peace and love, fare you well, keep on trucking.